Looks to come inside and fire one a goal and find the back of the net for Perth.
And the Azzurri have come back from 2 goals down to tie it up.
Cue the celebrations for the Azzurri.
Yeah, welcome to the Perth SC Podcast, coming to you once again from the Perth San Siro, aka Dorrien Gardens, episode 13 for 2025. Great to have you with us once again, and of course a big thanks to Lidio Fiore and the team at the Panorama Club, Perth's premier private members club and luxury workspace. And of course, a Camera House in Leederville, your go-to destination for the Leederville and wider Perth creative community, providing expert advice and a comprehensive range of photography and video equipment. In a little while, we'll catch up with assistant coach for the NPL men's team in Ellis Healing. He's going to join us. But before we get into that, a few notices from around the club. First of all, a massive thank you to everyone who came down to Dorrien Gardens last Friday night to get behind our good mate Brian McCready. A big thanks, of course, to the crew from Carramar Shamrock Rovers. It was a magnificent night. There was plenty of great support and plenty of cheer and goodwill for Brian, with maybe a little bit of fun football played in between. So, yeah, a really great night, and yeah, plenty of support there. First of all, a big thanks to all of our volunteers. I know there was plenty of people running around. There was the bar was busy. There was the cake stall, which was busy. There was plenty of hot dogs getting handed out, and yeah, a great crowd in. So a big thank you to everyone there. Big thank you to the volunteers, of course, including Frank and Glenn, who organised the evening, and of course the sponsors for the night, including Leon Tatalia from Cheap Meats, our good friends at Princey Butchers, and of course the crew up there at Remax Extreme Real Estate in Currumbine for their support as well. A big thank you to everyone involved. Don't forget, we've got another important day on the calendar which you can get behind. It is our annual Pink Match in support of Breast Cancer Care WA. It is our annual event, particularly a good day for the ladies. Everyone dresses up in pink and gets behind a good cause. It is all happening on Saturday the 28th of June. Lunch will be served at 12:30, followed by our Azzurri women taking on Perth Red Star in what's looking to be a massive fixture in the scheme of the season currently. $110 will get you a 3-course lunch put on by Egidio from Buraz and also Compa, and also a glass of Prosecco on arrival, your gate entry, and a donation on your behalf, which is fantastic, to Breast Cancer Care WA, of course. So a big, looking forward to seeing everyone for that. A big thank you to Finney Group, Decmol, and of course the Panorama Club for their support with that particular event. Also, a massive congratulations. I don't know if you saw it in the week, but a massive congrats to Ken Anthony and the team at the Perth SC Blind Football. Their recent recognition at the at the 2025 Visibility Awards, they took out the Community Commitment Award, which is absolutely fantastic. Some fantastic recognition for the team there, particularly Ken and everyone who puts a lot of work into making sure that can go ahead. It's fantastic to see what started as, a general participation program is now evolving into, state representation, if you like. And the hope is it will evolve even further with players using such pathways to go on to possibly a Paralympic team, which is absolutely fantastic to have some of these guys and girls not only representing Perth Soccer Club, but imagine going on and representing your country at the Paralympics and the Australian national team. Wouldn't that be fantastic to see? So we're looking forward to seeing how that evolves. And once again, a big congrats to Ken and everyone involved in the Perth SC Blind Football program. Right, let's take a look at the results from the weekend. Well, I have to say, luck just simply wasn't on the side of the senior men at the weekend. They were forced to share the points with Balcatta, Etna, and what looked to be a wet and windy Grindelford reserve. The side welcomed back Zaid Farah from long-term injury. Fantastic to see Zaid back out there. Jamie McNellis also returned to the first team, which is fantastic. And following a bit of an uneventful first half, Balcatta got the go-ahead goal through Darius Guinea. Before the Azzurri levelled things up through an own goal, they were back in it. And then it was up to Sam Ryak, who reacted the quickest to give Perth the go-ahead on around 78 minutes. That was following a Kobe Sutton header from a corner, which was a little bit too hot to handle for Etna keeper in Stefan Sitorovsky. So, good to see Sammy Ryak and the score sheet there. But ultimately, it would be Balcatta who played party spoilers that night. They managed to pull a bit of a rabbit out of the hat, didn't they, in that one? 94th minute. It was that man again, Darius Guinea. He took a free kick. It took the most wicked of deflections off the wall, off the back of one of the defenders in the wall, in fact, to deceive everyone, including Matthias Zanuski in goals. It found the back of the net in the 94th minute. The final score there, Perth 2, Balcatta 2. So a point on the road, I guess is good, but they'll be a little bit disappointed with the way that one actually ended up. So onwards and upwards there for the senior men this coming week. Earlier in the day, our senior women, they suffered their first loss of the season as they went down to Balcatta. They're a bit of a thorn in our side at the moment, is Balcatta. A very good sign nonetheless. Just the one change, April Noscent replaced Georgia Cassidy in the starting 11. And, the Azzurri girls, they came under a fair bit of pressure early. They just simply struggled to play through that bit of a ferocious Balcatta press. They were under the cosh there for large periods. And, despite it holding out, Balcatta eventually got what would be the winning goal there through Lucy Jerem. Ella Lincoln had a bit of a late chance to equalise late, but ultimately it was repelled by former Perth keeper in Rebecca Bennett. It was a brilliant save to keep the score at and finish up at Perth 0, Balcatta 1. For our 23s men, a solid 2-1 win for our 23s men. Jonathan Ricapuro and Gianni Iolati getting on the score sheet there. So well done to Kev Castle on his side. Our 18s men, an unfortunate outing for our 18s men as they went down 2-0 to Balcatta. And finally, our women's 21. That was a brilliant 4-2 win. A double to Amy Lee Blackwell and singles to Elsa Zindel and also Macy McCready. So a big congratulations to Brian McCready's side there. And there we go. A little bit of a look back at the weekend and our results for our senior sides for the Azzurri on the weekend. That was right. Let's take a little bit of a break. NPL men's assistant coach, Ellis Healing, he's going to join us next. Welcome back to the Perth SC Podcast. Not the result that the boys would have wanted on the weekend. Our senior men going, drawing 2-2 after a bit of a late flurry from Balcatta. Maybe very unlucky, depends on who you speak to. I reckon this bloke will probably tell us that we're a bit unlucky. Ellis Healing's with us, assistant coach to Kenny Lowe. Ellis, thanks for jumping on, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah, first of all, mate, bit unlucky at the end of that one.
Yeah, I'd say so. But don't get me wrong, Balcatta had some good chances in the game. I'd probably say a draw was a fair result overall, but just the manner of the goal being 94th, 5th minute, whatever it was, deflected free kick. Yeah, it was a tough way to lose the 3 points.
Mate, your first season as assistant with Kenny down here at Perth this year. How are you finding things?
It's good. It's been obviously a lot different to the last couple of seasons, being over the other side of the white line. But it's been a good experience, especially again working under Kenny. Obviously, last time I worked under him, it was the player coach relationship. Now it's obviously I'm his assistant down here. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been strange having a blue badge on rather than a red badge after for so long, but it's been good.
We'll talk about that in a quick second, mate. Just, I guess, a recent tough patch for the boys. You started ever so well, but maybe a couple of little road bumps in the mid-season.
Yeah, we started real well in regards to results. Obviously, I think we went 8 unbeaten, 7 or 8 unbeaten. And I think the performances were a little bit up and down, even that unbeaten run. And I think the performances have been up and down in this bad run as well. We haven't necessarily been playing bad for the last 6 or 7 games. Notably, like the Bayswater game, I thought we played real well there, just didn't come away with the points. So I think our performances have been consistently inconsistent a little bit.
Yep.
But hopefully we can start getting back on, try and get some results in the next couple of weeks.
Is it fair to say that you started that season playing some clubs, no disrespect to those clubs, but that were down the lower end, and then you kind of hit that big test where you had the top 3 clubs 3 consecutive weeks? Is that, I guess, good in the fact that you get a little bit of a marker on where you're at?
Yeah, I think so. But as I say, even so, you look at those top 3 clubs, Kingsway, Bayswater, Glory. We took a bit of a pumping off Kingsway, obviously, but we started real well in that game. It was a 6-0 game, obviously, but the first 30, you would never have guessed that game was going to be 6-0. And then we played pretty well against Bayswater and Glory and didn't come away with the 3 points in either one of those. So I think even against the top 3 teams, our performances have been there, but at the end of the day, you got to go and get the results to back it up as well, you know.
What were the I guess key takeaways from those particular results, and what are the areas that you felt you probably could have improved on in the last few weeks?
We've got to score more than the opposition.
Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah, pretty well, because we're creating the chances.
Yep.
Especially in the Glory game, we had a lot. I think we had 2 or 3 one-on-ones in the first half. You got to put them away. At the end of the day, like again, Bayswater 1-0, Kingsway 6-0. We went 2 games without scoring in the games. It wasn't through a lack of chances. That first 30, Kingsway, I think we had a good 2 or 3 real good chances before we conceded that first goal. So it's not through lack of performance or lack of chances. We just got to score them at the end of the day.
It's a very young side, Ellis. Is it fair to say that sometimes these are just the patches that the young players have to go through to learn?
Yeah, I'd say we probably expect the inconsistency because we've got a young team.
Sure.
But I think there's only so long that you can keep saying that.
Yeah.
You've got to mature as a player at some point. And again, it's up to the players to sort of bring that out themselves. We can't have a team full of potential for the next couple of years. You've got to start turning up and getting results if you want to win leagues, which is what this club wants to do.
There's been a bit of movement. Some of that has been forced due to injury, players coming in and out. I guess the big key from the outside looking in has been Curtis Mogg at the back and just what he brought at the start of the season, that leadership and that experience that he has had at a decent level. Is that something that that you're actively looking to kind of rectify at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to be, because we've only just got the prognosis on Moggy's, the full extent of his injury, and it looked like he might be out a little while longer than we expected. But he was a fantastic signing when he first came in, not only for his quality on the ball as a defender, being a left-footed centre-half that can play, but just his personality, his characteristics, his will to win, competitiveness was a real good signing for this team. And I think everyone that's been watching Perth could sort of see the gap that's been left since he hasn't been in the team. Yeah.
It was funny because when I did speak to Moggy, and it's sometimes rare to see, particularly in this day and age where player movement is so happens so often, that there was a real willingness to feel for the rest of the club after these losses for a new player. So I mean, I guess that's exactly what you want, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it goes to show how much of an impact Moggy made in his first couple of weeks with the club. I think he only played 5 or 6 games. And he made a real impact on the team, the club, the dressing room, and the performances. So when we found out only fairly recently there's going to be quite a long injury, that it's the whole club, from the coaches, the board, the players, it's been a real disappointment. But it's happened now, so you got to deal with it. You can't use it as an excuse for the rest of the season. Now is an opportunity for players to step up and prove they should have been playing.
I'm sure you'll keep your cards very close to your chest when I ask this, but is that an area that you'll look to target throughout the transfer window, which is coming in a couple of weeks?
I think there's a couple of places that we're probably looking to bring some players in. I'd say, there's probably a few. probably not in the right position to give away too much of who would go and have what exact positions. But yeah, there's a few that we're looking to try and strengthen for sure.
Another bit of movement's been between the sticks. Of course, a great move for Mark Birighetti to get another opportunity at A-League level. But Maciej Zanuski's come in, Big Matt. He's an absolutely cracking lad, but he seems to have fitted in seamlessly also.
Yeah, he did, because he kept on training with us when he was out on loan, and the lads could see his quality when he was training with us. Not many lads, well, a lot of lads, want to have him on their team in the 5-a-sides or the 7-a-sides, because it's hard to score past him. Bloke's about 6'9", an absolute unit, So he's and he's not only that though, he's been real good for the changing room as well. He talks decent English. I don't know how much of it he understands, especially when I'm talking to him. But he's good with his communication in the dressing room. He's loud, he's aggressive, which is, again, something this team needs, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Mate, I'm just going to go back to your playing days. Now, we don't want to speak about them too fondly up there at Red Star, but I'm sure that is a place that holds a special place for you. Yeah.
I was at Red Star for 4 or 5 years, something like that. And it was sort of where I probably felt most at home in my time in WA. Obviously, captaining the club there, coming under when Kenny first came in. And then stayed there, obviously, throughout the time he left. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Red Star, and as I say, it felt strange at first, swapping the colours of the shirts, because it'd been a long time since I had done.
And you also played overseas.
Yep.
You're English, but you played in the Welsh Premier League, is that right?
Correct, yeah. So I started playing in England. So I played for Tranmere in League One. And then when I left Tranmere, I went to Sweden for a little bit, played in Sweden. And then non-league before I moved to the Welsh Premier League. So the team I played for, a team called Airbus, they were probably only about 20-25 minutes away from Liverpool, so it's not quite as far as you would think. But yeah, that's the last place I was playing before I came out to Australia, the Welsh Prem.
What was the reason for coming out here? Was it football, or was it just working holiday, or
a bit of both? I think I got a little bit disillusioned with football in Wales. There was an awful lot of travelling. Like most of the away games are like 5-6 hours away, and I just felt at the time I was just looking for a bit of a change. And it just so happened I came out here with a friend of mine, Alex Salmon. And he had a mate out here called Danny Hodgson,
of course.
People are familiar with. So my initial connection to come out here was Danny, and that's when he sorted out as a club, and then came out, and haven't looked back since.
Some fantastic players to come through that ECU Red Star. What is it that and even go on to bigger and better things? Cam Burgess and Shane Lowry and all these kind of guys. What is it about that club that just makes it good at producing players? Yeah,
I think they've obviously got very good junior coaches in there, because again, all the clubs, all the lads that come through have generally been there for quite a long time. And I guess I only seen it when they were got to 15, 16, 17. We'd have quite a lot of them come up with us to train at Red Star. And there was always just a very competitive edge to the Red Star training. If a 16-year-old came in to train with us, you're treated as a grown man. You're treated as a first team, held to the same standards as a first team player would be. So we found out very quickly if people were going to be good enough. And there was a good couple who came through who showing that they were. One's at Perth now, actually, Sean O'Connor. He come through. I think he might have started training. Was it 15 or so, maybe? I'm pretty positive when he first come in to train was at Red Star. He probably didn't like me that much, because I used to hammer him quite a lot. But I think he's got over it now, and hopefully it made him into the player a little bit on the journey to the player he is today.
Mate, unfortunately, you had to give the game away due to an injury. Take us through that, and I'm sure you reflect on it, but at the time, it mustn't have been easy.
No, it wasn't easy. It wasn't one... Well, it was my choice, but I was almost forced into it a little bit, because I've had quite a lot of ACL injuries down the years. And then I'd just come back 9 months or 10 months after me last one, and I was back training with Red Star, ready to play the season. And then sort of out of nowhere, I got an infection in my knee. Got an ultrasound on it, and then the surgeon gave me a call about an hour after the ultrasound, said you need to go to hospital right away to have surgery on it, sort of as soon as possible. So it turned out to be a little bit more serious than I thought. It was a golden staph infection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'd heard of staph and that before. I knew it wasn't good, but golden staph's obviously the one that kills people and can be pretty deadly. So then I went into the surgery, and I remember the surgeon, this is what made me make the decision to retire. The surgeon said, before I went to sleep for the surgery, I could lose my leg in the surgery. So I went in there not knowing if I was going to wake up with a leg or not. So then when I did, and thankfully it was still attached to me, I sort of had a thought, and probably just a little bit too risky to keep on putting my body through that amount of injuries. So it was more like a health issue rather than an injury issue.
How old were you then?
That was only about 18 months ago.
So you're
30.
So you're 30.
I'm 31 now. I know I don't look it, but I'm 31 now. Yeah.
You've had, mate. We were talking a little bit before we pressed the record button, and you've had some shocking injuries. And I do remember when I was covering a bit of the game for Football West and covering a game for yourself, and I was, who's that out there in the Batman mask? And it was you.
Yeah.
And what did you say? It was a fractured eye socket?
So it was the one of the few seasons I was actually fit for without my knee injuries. It's the reason why I never used to head the ball. And then I go to head the ball once against Sorrento, and the fullback come and heads my face instead of the ball.
Yeah, right.
And it fractured my eye socket in 2 places and my cheekbone in 1. So again, that was another, went in for surgery that night and had to get 3 metal plates put on my face. Hence why I had to run around in that Batman mask for the rest of the season after it. Yeah. But yeah, that wasn't a fun injury either to have.
You captained the side up there, and then obviously you transitioned into coaching.
Yeah.
Did you find that's those skills that you learned as captain transitioned to your coach?
Yeah, I did actually quite a lot because during my injuries at Red Star, I ended up doing a little bit of coaching with the 20s at the time when it was. But even just being that little bit more experienced and going through my knee injuries and having to sort of persevere through the rehab, because it's not an easy rehab. An ACL, you can see when you do your first one why so many players don't come back the same player. So I sort of got a lot of mental toughness going through 3 of those, which then put me into like a little bit of a leadership position at Red Star when I was on the pitch. So I think that definitely helped me when I transitioned over to coaching, yeah, for sure.
Does your philosophy change when you transition as well? I mean, your philosophy as a player, does it change once you become a coach? Do you think about the game differently? Maybe not only the technical and tactical side, but maybe the human element as well?
Yeah, definitely the human element. I don't know if my philosophy around football has changed. I don't think it has. I think I'm a little bit more defensive minded as a coach than I was as a player.
Sure.
It's because I didn't think about defence at all when I was a player. So that's probably one of the reasons. But it's the way I communicate with people is a lot different now. Because when I was a player, if again Sean would probably tell the story, or anyone at Red Stars, I was pretty loud and brash and used to ruffle a few feathers when I used to talk to people because I just have such high standards. But I only was like that because I knew what I would bring as a player. I'd always try and keep myself as the fittest, work the hardest in training. So it gave me the right to demand that from the other lads at Red Star as well, which I often did. But then as a coach, now I haven't got that ability to sort of do it on the pitch and lead by example myself. I've had to tailor the way I communicate because I don't think I can speak to people the same way now as I did when I was a player, because I don't think it would go down as well as it did back then, yeah.
I guess age-old question, do you feel you need to be a good player to be a good coach, or does it help that you've played the game at a high level to become a coach, do you feel?
It definitely helps. I don't think you need to be a great player to be a great coach, or even just a good coach.
Yeah.
I think you need to be able to pass the ball straight 10 yards, though. Yeah. I don't think you can just never play the game of football and come in and be a good coach.
Sure.
There's a certain extent to it, but yeah, by no means do I think you need to have been playing in the Premier League or any sort of professional level to be a good coach. But when you have, it certainly helps for sure.
It's funny, isn't it? Because often you see some clubs that will just, he was a fantastic player for us. He's going to make a great coach. And it's not always the way.
Yeah. By all means, it can go the absolute opposite way. You can be an absolute fantastic player and an absolute terrible coach. So by no means does it give you sort of a rite of passage that you're going to be a great coach just because you could do fairly well when you were playing.
One bloke that was pretty good at both is Kenny Lowe. Of course,
he wasn't bad there. Yeah,
you've worked with Kenny over there at Red Star, and now here. What are some of the big lessons that you've learnt from Kenny over the years?
Well, right before I just came in for this interview, he showed me a video. I think it was about from 70 years ago, but it was a good one. It was a little back heel that he did to put.
Is that when he's got the blonde mullet? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was back when he had hair, so you know it was a while ago. But yeah, no, with Kenny as we coach at Red Star, I think the reason why we got on so well is because I guess we were a little bit similar is in the fact that he never used to listen to his coaches either that much, I don't think. And again, there's plenty of times when I was playing for Red Star when I kind of had to just ignore what he's shouting at me and take the bull by the horns and do things myself. But I would do that recognising the fact that if it doesn't work, I'm going to cop it from him, and I was fine with that. But yeah, I was pretty mouthy, as I said, so I think he kind of liked that aspect about me. And then we always kept in touch when he left Red Star as well. And then he ended up asking me to come in here, and it's been a good relationship again since I started.
Of course, you're probably going to give me the cliche that you're just going to think about what you guys are doing over the next few weeks, but there must be a little bit of a mental toll that's after the tough period that Perth's gone through. How do we get back into that winning circle in the next few fixtures, which might become a little bit crucial?
We need to turn up on a Saturday. Pretty much as simple as that. We've got the quality in the squad. I don't think the quality is an issue of what we've got here in Perth. It's about lads doing that quality on a Saturday. I think there's a lot of players in our team. I think if they were to look at how the season's gone so far, I think and I'd hope they'd know that they have to do better. Again, because the club at Perth, we want to win the league. I don't think we're going to be winning the league this year, which wasn't the aim. But that's where we want to be. And you don't win the league by being inconsistent, and you don't win the league by being mediocre. You've got to turn up on a Saturday, score goals and perform. So at the end of the day, players have got to turn up.
A quick look ahead to the weekend, Ellis, before we let you go. Fremantle away, tricky place to go. We can get some windy and wet and horrible conditions down there, mate. So what have you been making of Freo, and what do you feel it's going to take to get over the line? Yeah,
obviously Freo have had a little bit more of a difficult season than they did last year. But again, more so now than ever. When I first joined the league a good couple of years ago, there was quite a distinct sort of difference in level of ability from the top teams to the bottom teams. I think that's gone an awfully lot closer these last couple of years. I don't think there's massive differences now. So again, it's a cliche to say every game's a tough game, but it is. I don't think you're going to turn up and just expect to roll teams now. Whereas probably a couple of years ago, even so at the start of Red Star, we used to turn up and think we should probably be winning this 4 or 5-0. But the league's a lot closer now, so it's going to be a tough game on Saturday. And again, it goes back to the fact that we can't turn up and think we're good enough to roll teams. You've got to be ready for a battle and perform when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon down there at Hilton Park. Get down there and don your colours and get behind the Azzurri boys. Ellis, thanks very much, mate, for giving us a few minutes.
No worries. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Big thanks to Ellis Healing, who joined us just before that break. And just before we get set to wrap things up, a little bit more news out of the club, and with the WA state budget being handed down over the last 24 to 48 hours. I can also reveal some great news as far as that goes for a $30 million pledge inside the state budget for the upgrades to Dorrien Gardens and the surrounding precincts, including the WA Italian Club, which is absolutely fantastic. And I guess a little bit more broadly, of course, there's been a bit of news around the upgrades to the Sam Kerr Football Centre Stage 2. Has started to been a bit of movement as far as Stage 2 goes for the Sam Kerr Football Centre as well. So football getting a little bit out of the state budget, which is fantastic news as well. So let's have a big old look at the weekend. There's plenty to look forward to, and we'll start at the very, very front end. It will be a Friday night when you're listening to this. It might be tonight, in fact, that we get behind our Azzurri girls. It is the quarterfinals of the Women's State Cup. They're going to be taking on the Football West Academy down there at the Sam Kerr Football Centre. So a little bit of a tricky task, this one. Hopefully the girls can get over the line and march on to the semis. But if you want to get down to the Sam Kerr Football Centre, 6:30 Friday night. It could be tonight, depending on when you're listening to this, the 20th of June, of course. So get down there and support the girls. On the Saturday, our senior men, they will be away to Fremantle City. Little bit of a tricky one again for our senior men. A bit of a tough place to go at times. It can be wet, it can be windy, and pretty difficult conditions at times down there at Hilton Park. But it is part, of course, of our honorary Del Sonia Cup, of course, that we play each and every time against Fremantle City. Obviously, that does pay a little bit of tribute to the past of both of these great two clubs, and particularly the connection through the old East Fremantle Tricolore as well. So get down there. Senior men kick off at 3 p.m. Prior to that, our 18s at 11 and our 23s men at 1 p.m. So looking forward to that. Just before we let you go, don't forget, of course, to make sure you get your tickets for the Hyundai Football West Community Raffle. A Hyundai Tucson is available up for grabs with a winning ticket worth $55,000. And of course, proceeds from that will go towards our Perth Soccer Club junior program. So very much looking forward to everyone getting behind that, and hopefully we have a winner come from the mighty Azzurri. Don't forget, if you can, please head over to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, give a review, give a rating. That always helps us spread the word about the Perth SC Podcast and what's happening around here at the mighty Perth Soccer Club. So good luck to all of our sides this weekend, and come on, the Azzurri.